All right, everyone. I am super pumped to be able to have everybody on tonight so you can hear from my corporate coach, one that I absolutely love. So when you actually become a Jewel, you get a coach that gets to help you and train and all the things. And when the nice thing though is that he also gets to come to our team calls and things like that when he is able. And I'm so glad that I was able to snatch him up tonight so that he can come and share and just give some tips and tricks or all the awesome things. And we did say that there was something really exciting that was happening that corporate just posted about. And so I was going to have Chris reveal that too, and all the fun things. But I'm going to go ahead and hand it over. But thank you guys for coming on tonight. And go ahead, Chris.
Thank you very much. Let's give it up for Cassie Howard, always being such a gracious host. Yes, thank you, Rebecca, for the clap, and Jara. We're getting some more people joining, so thanks for being here. As Cassie already said, we love that you're taking time out of your day and your nights away from your families. But, you know, all the things that I love doing as a regional manager are really about, again, supporting you. And I feel like I'm only going to be repeating the things that Cassie has said up until this point, which is going to be good, because it's going to reinforce the things that she has already told you, that you already know, and you're going to feel like, oh, you know what, hey, I'm not that far away from my own success, continuing on in my particular rank and role. Now, Chiro, for example, had said that she had passed gold rank a couple of years ago, and then somebody else just said that they got started. So I've got varying ranks of people here. It just, I guess, for ease of people unmuting and muting. Cassie, why don't you just tell me the kind of range of ranks we have here?
Oh, there's my mute. Okay, so we have anywhere from silver or almost silver, or like somebody came to convention and got inspired, Teresa, and like now she's gonna go. So we have like literally brand new up till Ruby.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. This at least lets me know kind of what range I'm talking about. But really, everything is applicable no matter what range that you are in. One of the things that I really want to talk about, of course, are setting goals. Now, we actually have a structure that we follow that we actually have called a winning day. Now, we introduce that to people kind of officially once you get to Gold School, which Cassie's already mentioned, and we'll be talking about again. But the theory and spirit behind it is talking about what you do with your day when you're working your Plexus business. It really is just kind of segmenting whether or not you're using social media and how you're using it, who you're talking to on a regular basis, and of course, how you're talking about products and or the business. Now, some of the conversations I have, a lot of people show, and I'm sure you're all in this group too, most people are comfortable talking about the product. And it's not a surprise because Plexus has awesome products. I mean, let's just be honest. They're tasty, they're helpful, and they work. And if you don't think so, then you could scour the internet for all the before and after pictures that we've been posting lately. People use them and love them. So naturally, you're going to be talking about the product. But it's kind of a comfort zone too. People feel like there are facts that they can get about the products, and then they can give those facts to other people. But really, you are doing yourselves as well as those people a disservice by not talking about the business. Now, I know you're thinking, Chris, enough about talking about the business. I'm not that comfortable with it. And Cassie's saying, no, don't say that. So I'm going to keep on reinforcing it. Listen, the thing that I like to talk about, of course, is still talking about discipline and setting goals. Is each and every one of you out there has a very specific and unique voice that someone out there is prepared to hear. I couldn't necessarily reach some of the people that you could. And because those people are out there looking for you, you could potentially be keeping them from an opportunity that could help them either health-wise or financially, because you're just not saying what you need to. Now, what you need to say is different, depends on the situation, it depends on the person, but really what it comes down to is just giving somebody an opportunity. So when it comes to setting goals, one goal that you could always set for yourself is just being able to talk to, and again, Cassie's going to be much better at giving you very specifics depending on who you are, where you are in your business, as well as just what you've got going that works for you. But speaking to at least 3 people a day, again, I'm saying at least, to get at least 3 no's. That's right. You heard it here first. We're not talking about yeses. We're talking about no's, because it's all part of the business. We need to be prepared for somebody to say no. But listen, I know you're also saying, but Chris, no's hurt. Exactly. They're going to hurt. But here's the thing. If you're asking a question to somebody and your response to what they say is going to be dependent on what they say, then you really have to present something to someone. So no matter what they answer, it doesn't really affect you. So there's a phrase I want you to use. Again, you're going to hear it and you're going to go, oh, I know that one. I've been using it. But there might be a chance that you haven't heard it. Come closer, because the phrase is, this might not be for you. That's right. This might not be for you, because no matter what somebody says to that, you know what? I don't want anything to do with it. Guess what? You're right. You were right. You said it might not be for them. Sometimes it also offers a challenge. Somebody's going to say, well, why wouldn't it be for me? You know what? I'm going to show you it is for me. But what we're really trying to do is we're trying to give somebody a business opportunity where they can get additional income. And by asking people, presenting this business opportunity to someone, setting these particular goals for yourself, to talk to people, to at least get 3 no's, because no's is really just no now. Doesn't mean it's going to be no forever. Somebody, if you're offering somebody food and they just ate, they're going to say no until they're hungry again. So it's only temporary. But when you're offering somebody this opportunity, somebody just told me yesterday, in fact, they brought somebody to a Plexus event. The person didn't buy any products at this event, and then they went away. And then months later, they ran into the person, and the person signed up with somebody else. They're like, why didn't you sign up with me? And the person said, it almost sounds like a joke. And the person said, you never asked me. And truly, sometimes that's what it comes down to, just being bold enough to say, is this something you could be interested in? Now, this might not be for you, but now you also have to determine what their why is. A lot of times we just go up to people, okay, I'm supposed to lead with the business. So Plexus is also a business opportunity. Would you be interested? And of course, they're going to say no. And you're like, all right, let me retreat. You're trying to find out. People aren't just trying to see if this is an opportunity that works for them. They're trying to solve a problem in their life. And you hold the solution to it. You're there at this particular time in your life and a particular time in their life, and it's going to intersect. And they're going to be able to hear the offer that can help them. Yes, and most would work for it. For how much again? Oh yeah, thank you. I was going to say.
Hey, hang on. I want to see if my team knows. Let me see if they
Yes.
can remember in the chat, not the ones driving. 300, 150. Y'all are getting close. 250. Sam, ding, 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 ding.
Well done, Sam. You have control of the board, sticking with building the business for 1,000. The next question is, yes, the question was, what is the average amount of money that somebody would consider working this business for? And the answer was $250. That's right. That's how I say it, because I'm from the streets. That's a small amount of money. And you would think that most people who are so resistant to doing anything with direct sales would go, you might even have said that to yourself before you decided to be where you are now. You might have said to yourself, I tell you what, in order for me to get in this business, I got to be making at least $1,500, $2,000 a month. But really, it's this additional income. And when you look at it like that, it is not a large amount that somebody would be able to benefit from. And if we think of it like that, it really isn't something that they're pinning their entire life on or their career. This could be anybody from someone who looks or seems like they need it to the CEO of a company. Maybe there's that one person in your life that you've seen, personally, that you would love to offer an opportunity to, but you're like, oh no, man, that person's going to laugh me out of my seat. That's the person that you need to show up to and give him an opportunity. Because it could be the CEO of a company, but maybe she doesn't want to be CEO. Maybe she's just like, I've been looking for an opportunity like this so I could work it into the cracks and crevices of my life. You could work it from your phone when you're in the carpool lane, getting ready to pick up your kids. And they need to hear that from you because, again, you've got that unique voice. So from a goal setting standpoint, it really is, again, speaking to at the very least 3 people a day, but also kind of working on, as Genevieve likes to say, not being weird. And again, you've heard that before, but the thing that I like about that phrase is, yes, thank you very much. Hashtag don't make it weird, or don't be weird. The kind of scenario that I like to use, it's, again, I tend to use analogies, is you know, if you're using social media, you're trying to create a presence that people can relate to. You're a person that they can approach. Again, you're an approachable person. So imagine you're in your home and somebody knocks on the door and you open it, and it's new next door neighbors who are introducing themselves to you. And they're like, hey, we just moved in next door. And you're like, yep, hey, good to meet you. We're the Fishes. My name is Samantha. This is my family. We're the coolest house on the block. Anything you need sugar, you need jumper cables, we're here. And then that new neighbor goes, thank you, bye. And then you close the door. You don't close the door thinking, I hope they come by to get sugar one day. You're just like, all right, we established ourselves as being cool. And then the next day you see them out in the yard and you're like, hey, new neighbor, how you settling in? And they're like, hey, Samantha, settling in really well. And then you drive away. And then a week later you see them again. You're like, hey, your car looks really cool. And they're like, yeah. And then one day they actually come over and they're like, okay, this is going to sound really weird, but can I take you up on those jumper cables? And you're like, yeah. That's because you've established yourself as this really approachable, awesome, cool person. And that's what you want to translate to your online life. So that's why you're not always talking about Plexus online. You're talking about your day-to-day life. Just imagine if you walked outside your house and the new neighbor was there and you're like, hey, new neighbor, remember we got the jumper cables if you need them. And they're like, okay, we kind of don't need them. And I really wish you'd stop asking me about it. So online, you're talking about what? Your mother, perhaps. And oh my gosh, every morning I'm always scrambling around trying to figure out what to make these kids for breakfast. Somebody give me a quick meal that I can whip up so I don't, you know, have to pour another bowl of cereal. And all of a sudden people are like, hey, my guys, I have this all the time. I'm a movie guy. I like movies. I like recommending movies. People ask me, what's the last thing you saw that was really good? And I come up with something. But because I'm an approachable person, in fact, I don't know, this movie just popped into my head. It's a movie called Whiplash. It was out several years ago. It's about a guy who's just a drummer and he just wanted to be a better drummer. I'm not kidding you, man. The intensity of this film ratchets up literally right up until the credits roll. And it's just about this guy putting himself under the tutelage of this almost maniacal instructor. But you're on the edge of your seat about a guy drumming the entire time. Kind of a profane movie, so I wouldn't watch it in front of the kids, but OMG, Becky, this is always on the top of my list of movie recommendations.
Yes.
Now, thank you, Aaron. See? Now, perhaps based on me not being weird and establishing myself as potentially a resource that you trust, you might be going, I might have to check out Whiplash. He certainly sold it. That's you. You are presenting yourself and your character and your life in a way on the off chance that the people in your circle are going to see you and go, that person's not weird. And then you bring up, man, I tell you, so glad I have energy. Thanks to Active. Less commercially. But then they go, man, you know, you've established yourself as such a cool, what's this Active thing I keep hearing about? I keep seeing with the drink in your hand. Like, well, it's funny you should mention that, Marcy, because I've noticed that you've been talking about not having a lot of energy. Now, this might not be for you, but if I were to address some of the energy, I mean, and really, it's not even the energy they want. If you think about it, they don't want the energy. They want what they can do once they have the energy. So what does having more energy mean to you, Marcy? I want to spend more time with my kids. So that's the solution you're offering, not just having more energy and not losing weight or not these things. What are you going to be able to do once you get, I mean, winning the lottery is great, but what are you going to do with the money? That's the takeaway. So once you establish yourself as that approachable person, that's one of the ways that you're going to structure your day online. You're not going to have all the answers for those of you who just started. You're not going to have all the answers for those rubies out there. A lot of people feel like I've got to be an expert and somebody's going to ask me a question. I'm not going to have an answer and I'm going to look dumb. I don't know all the ingredients to these products, and somebody's going to ask you, you know, is it gluten-free? Is it aspartame? Does it have melatonin in it? You know, I can get that for you, but hopefully that's not what's stopping you from this solution to being able to get you more time with your kids? I mean, if I can get that answer, is this, tell me about some of your thoughts about what you would do with $250 more a month. Those are the kind of conversations you're having. You're offering solutions. All right. So talking about goal setting, we're talking about not quitting. Hey, it's the endish of the month. This is typically the time when people are running the race and it's like, oh my goodness, I can see the finish line and nobody's behind me. Time to let up. No, I'm not even going to attempt to recreate a lot of the analogies that Genevieve uses when it comes to running a race. And at the end of the race, it's always won. And, you know, bringing up Super Bowls where the last Super Bowl, the game was won within the last like 10 seconds. Somebody dropped the ball or any of that. We can come up with all kind of memories of things that have happened. But what it really comes down to it is most of these races, metaphorical and literal, are won within the last few feet, inches, minutes, seconds. Somebody at the last minute does something. A lot of times I get calls from the people that I support and they ask, how close am I? Where are my points? And it makes sense. But I just typically recommend don't look. It's like looking behind you while you're running. Like, how close is the next closest person? Just run. Just run. Because even if you miss it, even if you don't win, or again, using the race analogy, you're going to know, okay, I came that close, or I did win, or I did finish, or I did rank up. Now I'm going to keep that energy going. And I'm specifically saying energy, not momentum. Momentum's good. Momentum doesn't come for several months. And this is also along the lines of not quitting. Again, analogies, people go to the gym, they go a few times, they don't see any results, and then they're like, I'm going to quit. You're pushing a car from a dead stop. You have to keep pushing it. It isn't until the car actually is rolling on its own and you can let go of it and walk alongside of it and it keeps rolling. That's momentum. That doesn't come for several feet of pushing. And your momentum in your business doesn't come for several months. But the key to that is the duplication that you create in your business. You have a plan, and that plan is passed down to the people that you enroll, and then you teach those people you enroll how to do the exact same thing. It's hard work, but it's simple. It's just teaching them. Again, if you're just starting, and even if you've been in this for a while, it doesn't matter if you know all of the steps. That's what you have Cassie for. That's what you have us for. You know, we're at the home office. We are nothing but a huge building of resources to help you with your independent business. This sounds like a Hallmark card, but I'm not kidding you. We at home office are here strictly for you. You, know us. There's no need for us. We're here to help you with your independent business. I mean, isn't that so? And I feel honored to be in a position to be able to help you. I feel like a waiter in a good way. You know, like I am. I got some water. Would you like me to fill it up for you? No? Okay, I'll just be over here. Want me to read you the specials? Cool, I'm here. You want me to make a recommendation? Okay, that I will do. Here's what I would say. You feeling like seafood? That's what I and other people all across the building are doing. We are here to help you at every stage with a graphic, with a video, with a call like this in your business. You're not alone. So you've got us, but also, again, you've got an upline. You've got a resource. I mean, look at that face. Look at her. Look at those teeth. I knew they were coming. That's a woman who is dedicated to helping you, getting you all on this call for your success. So hopefully this is coming across as sincere as it's feeling, because I, again, feel blessed to be in this position. So you don't have to know every single step intuitively. You just need to do the next task that you're asked to do. So for example, going back to the 3 no's, you could get the task from Cassie, and this probably isn't a bad one to put out there. Tomorrow, for example, call 3 people, maybe not this exact example because it's the end of the month, but call 3 people and get 3 no's. And then when you finish that task, call me back. That's the type of simple task that you will not only do and then call her back, but then you will duplicate with the people that you bring in, because it's giving someone an achievable task, because sometimes people just need a win all the time, really. But also it's showing people, oh, that's That's all I had to do. That's all you have to do today. And now we're going to keep doing those simple tasks all the time. We're going to create a habit. We're not going to create graphics. We're not going to do all of these things ourselves. We're going to follow simple tasks and create that duplication in the business, because really it's not about bringing in rather hundreds of people, or more realistically, dozens of people. People think, oh my gosh, I talked to 100 people today and 20 of them are signing up. Good. I mean, outstanding, quite honestly. But remember, these are 20 people who need this for either their health or finances. So the question becomes, are you prepared to support them? That's what we call retention. People are brought into the company, and then after they cross that finish line, they're like, got them in, and then they're forgotten about. And if you got them in because there was a promotion or a jacket or an iPad or something, that's a shiny bauble that may fade. But remember, linking them to their why, I want to spend more time with my kids. That's going to keep them in it. So when they actually go in the valley, you're going to have some peaks, some valleys. When they go in the valley, you can say, I absolutely understand that this is very challenging right now, and I'm here for you. But how much closer are you to fulfilling that goal of spending time with your kids that you wanted? I mean, I don't want to give you food if you're not hungry. And maybe this is where you, like we said, this might not be for you. And if this is challenging you, I want to help. But if you are finding it hard, I want to help these other people here too. So let's have a frank discussion. Let's talk to me. These are the kinds of conversations that you've had, I'm sure, with Cassie. So you were going to duplicate and have with other people. And excuse me, looking at my notes here. We also want to talk. We'll stay on the topic of, and I also want to leave some opportunity for people to chime in here too. Going back to the note that I mentioned about what we are doing here at home office and what we have, we've got every event that we do, we actually are queuing up for the next event. So somebody goes to Gold School, it's to queue you up to go to Rubies, and you go to Rubies on the Rise, for example, and then you're going to be going perhaps to Leadership Excellence as an Emerald, and then there are events that are in between, as well as convention, which some of you just attended, some of you may have not attended yet. But we do have Gold School that is coming up very soon. And Cassie, I'm not looking at it right now, but do you have that date? I believe it's, I want to say August. There you go. She's got the one finger hold up.
Yep, I'm looking just as, I bet Sharon knows it faster than me, but I'm working on it.
All right, hands on your buzzers. When, all right, the
see?
25th.
No, wait, 25th.
The 52nd.
Nope.
What's happening?
I don't know. 5.
The 5th. All right, this is good. I love this game. All right, good. So August, it's a few months away, but the good news is, if you re-rank to gold or senior gold this month, you'll be invited to Gold School and at convention, the Gold Party. No, you're not. You're not telling me.
No, I'm saying, like, this is crazy. Like, keep going. Like,
yes.
Hope people are soak this in. Like, soak in what he's saying right now.
Now, if you haven't attended a Gold School before, let alone a Gold Party, again, MG Becky, not only do you get so much that you need at Gold School. I had this open. There were 4 quadrants, and without them in front of me, I don't want to mess them up. But leadership certainly is one of them. Being able to build your team, having structure with things like the winning day. And okay, we understand, Jared. Appreciate that. Thank you. I always appreciate the hand gestures, as you can see. Nevertheless, the relationships, and this goes for all of our events, the relationships that are formed at these events, I like to say, that typically start at Gold School, because this is where that particular rank, we have the building blocks of our team. Those are the members who have decided, I am in this. I have gone from ambassador up through silver, and now I'm gold. And it's because we focus on that particular rank as much as we do. We want to offer people the opportunity, if you rank or re-rank this month, to attend. So that could be you. That should be you. And if you have somebody on your team that has gone gold, I don't think I'm mistaken here, that allows you to be eligible to attend as well. Yes, Christy's giving me the head shake, so thank you for that assist. I'll take it from here, Christy. If you did sponsor somebody who went gold, then you can go as well. So it once again reinforces what you, oh, thank you, honey. My off-camera wife bringing me dinner. Thank you, sweetheart. Which I won't be eating, by the way. So you should be working your business to the point where you can get to this particular rank, get the information that we are offering. I want to don't know if I'll be able to bring that up on screen. Oh, we got Kath. Cass is giving us the screen. Yes, that could be you. Re-rank to gold, senior gold in June. Again, goes back to don't quit. You might say, but Uncle Chris, it's the 29th. Heck yeah. That makes tomorrow the 30th. That means don't stop running. I wanted to bring up that's what it was, it's a PowerPoint. Again, not that you would see this. There was just one slide on here that had a yes, essentially the 4 things that we would be focusing on at Gold School. Your mindset, making sure that you've got that business mindset, you know exactly what you're doing for your business, you're supporting it each day with small but repeatable actions that can then be duplicated. Your business systems, what things that you do on a regular basis that support your business, the business that you should be running 5 days a week, taking off 2 consecutive days, because don't kill yourself, kids. It's all about consistency. In fact, if you haven't read The Slight Edge yet, great book, and it is up. I think she's going to show it to us. She's going to go into her library and show us the book. You know the word, sing along. Heck yeah, The Slight Edge. One of the chapters in it, thank you very much for that product placement, Cassie. The author talks about his own daughter actually going to college, and she was a gifted person and got good grades, and now she finds herself in a university where she's sitting next to a bunch of other people who are getting good grades, and she asks him, how am I going to stand out rather? And he says, be consistent, show up every day. That's it. Show up every day, be consistent. He goes on to say that within a short period of time, that classroom full of 3,000 people got whittled down to like 100 or something like that. So for those of you who are thinking, how am I going to succeed? There's so many other people who could be better at this than me. I've failed in other areas, or I failed at this. I mean, I feel almost foolish, almost like I'm mansplaining by saying things like, that's the recipe. You show up, you fail, you show up, you succeed, then you fail. But if you continue to show up, you are going to do much better and much more than the person who, went to the gym, did a couple of bench presses and go, yeah, that was tough, I'm out. And I think going to the gym and working out is a great analogy, because we've probably all been there and we've known our level of success and or failures. So this is something we can do. We can work in the nooks and crannies of our lives, but you have to be accountable to yourself. You have to be accountable to your coach, who I'm pointing to on my screen, but she's probably somewhere else on yours. But if you already have that mindset for your business, you're halfway there. The other 2 areas were leader development, being able to, of course, develop people on your team to their own level of leadership, as well as income generation and comp plan. Heck yeah. So now we're talking about how much you can make, how much you will make. And again, if that 250, I'll translate. If that really is where you want to stop, or if you're saying, you know what, I would like to work just to the point where it's replacing my other income. You've seen videos. You've seen Cassie more than likely on camera on our Facebook page. You've seen other leaders in our organization that started out, it almost seems cliche. It almost seems like things you've seen in movies where somebody's like, I started out and I was this and now I'm that. That's you. This is your starting point. No matter where you are in your rank, you are moving forward. You're using the tools that we are making available to you, and you're allowing it to improve your health and or your income, which is going to affect you, your family, the lives of the people around you, friends, and otherwise. And you can be that leader that people look to for those answers. So if there are any ingredients that we can repeat on this particular call, it would be, again, having goals that you set, follow. Then, of course, creating some type of plan that can be duplicated that you then pass on to people that you bring in, as well as not quitting. Goodness, that, I mean, that's just the basic ingredients of a nutritious and balanced breakfast right there. Not quitting, and no particular order. Just do it. Hey, Samantha's child there. It's a very cute child I saw on camera there. If you do those things consistently, even when it hurts, even when it sucks, even when you failed, but you go to your leader and you ask her for guidance, and you ask her for help, and you ask her for empathy, she's going to be more than happy to provide that for you, give you a template to continue following, give you a task that you'll complete and feel like, oh, okay, that was good. I made one call, I completed that call, I checked it off my list. Just do the same thing tomorrow and I'm well on my way. You know, nobody drives from here to Disney and then halfway you get lost and then you go, we might as well just go back home. You're like, all right, we got to figure this out and keep going. So no matter what happens, you get off track. You don't feel like you're doing what you should. You don't feel like you're doing as good as the other person. It's okay. You won't. And if you acknowledge that now, then you'll know that you're on the right track when you don't quit and you keep talking to people and you keep showing up as the authentic you that you are, that only somebody in your circle is going to listen to. Because I could run into that same person and I can give them what I give them and they're like, that guy was weird. But somehow you and your voice and the way you present it, they're like, man, I tell you, that Christy Morrison voice, I'm gonna keep talking to her. She's a mom. I'm a mom. I can relate to her. And I guess in closing ish, again, that's still another Genevieveism here. She had said, if I told you that there was a room in your house right now or somewhere near you and there was 100 people in it, and somewhere in that group of 100 were the next 2 diamonds for your team, how many people would you talk to? I mean, you don't have to unmute. Obviously, everybody knows the answer. Exactly. I saw you, Shara. It's all of them. Not only would you talk to all of them, you would immediately push that person aside once they said, I'm not that person. You'd be like, oh, not you. Keep going. I kind of liken it to the Prince Charming and the Glass Slipper. He had to find one person before the clock struck midnight. And the minute he put it on somebody's foot and it didn't fit, he was like, out of my way. Next foot. He didn't put it on the other foot. He didn't tell her to walk around and, you know, maybe it's just water weight. Let's try it again. Just immediately went to the next person. The no you get just gets you closer to the next person who you know is there. So you know they're there. There's no room and there's no 100 people and there's no guaranteed diamond, but they are there. And if you are there listening, you're going to be able to address their needs. At least you're going to give them the help that they're asking for because you care and you're sincere. You're not just trying to build numbers. And if you are, it's going to be short-lived. I mean, you're going to get discouraged when the numbers don't add up. But if you're there for the right reasons, and I feel like you all are, then you're going to be the resource that somebody's been looking for. And it's going to be fulfilling for both them and you and the rest of the people on your team. So with that, we can open it up to questions. We can open it up to statements and any other types of things that you would like to interject right now. Unmute yourself and let's hear your voice. Look at while you're doing that, I'm actually looking through some of these. Fail forward, absolutely great contribution there, Cass. You don't stop running before the finish line. You run hardest through. Couldn't agree more, Julia. It's all about reaching out. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I feel like a mansplainer when I'm telling you or telling anybody things. like this. And it's like, yeah, we know, but we also need to have it reinforced and hear it again and go, okay, you're right. And if I could say, a lot of times it's kind of like being a parent, where you tell your child something and they're like, yeah, and then your spouse says the same thing and they're like, okay, you're like, I just said this thing. So sometimes it's that approach, and I think that's what Cassie and I are doing. Maybe she's told you things about, you're a leader, have got this, I'm here to help, and you're like, yeah, because you've always been there and you're cool. But now you're hearing it from a person who I've got no specific direct attachment to you, other than I represent you on this corporate level. But if I'm saying the same things that she says, hopefully you're listening to it like, you know what, you're right. This wasn't pre-reversed. I'll be literally, like, what do you want to talk about? Like, I don't know, talk about leadership and talk about Gold School. It's like, all right. So I'm telling you the recipe of how to make cookies, and you follow the recipe, you're going to be making some awesome cookies.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you.
Absolutely, Julia.
What is, and I know everybody is different, so do you know, is there like an average estimate of how long it takes people to, I almost don't even know how to ask it, if it's whether to rise to diamond level or if it's just to get them to where they feel like they've achieved. I can't speak. I'm sorry, my brain is fried today. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. So, to get them to where they feel like they've achieved their goals. Do you have like an estimate or something that the corporate has that kind of gives an idea? And I'm not saying that for myself. I'm just saying, I feel like sometimes it's nice to have an idea that it is, when we go into stuff, we sometimes think, oh, we're going to get there and we're going to get there in a couple years. But most of the people in Plexus that have either reached emerald, sapphire, or diamond, I want to say, from what I've listened to, you hear it's 5, 7, 8, 9 years. And so, and I know there are some that are less than that, but is there like an average, just for an idea of people to have like realistic expectations to not get discouraged or burnt out and to be in it for like the long haul? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And the answer is no. All right. Any other questions? I'm kidding. Listen, here's what I will do, because either I don't know that stat or it's not something that I have readily available. But I would like to know that too. So I'm going to kind of ferret that data out and get it to Cassie, and she can get it to you. And I'm sure you know this, but if you listen to what Julia just said, she was saying what could be a daunting number. It's going to take me like 8 years to become diamond. To be honest with you, almost every time I hear of anybody getting to some of those higher ranks, the jewel ranks, they often admit it took me fill in the blank amount of time longer than it should have, because I didn't blah, blah, blah. I didn't lean into it, or I was just making X amount of money. And then once I went to Gold School, then I really picked up, but I was senior silver for like 3 years. So sometimes when you hear the number, even the average, that can be discouraging. Like, I don't want it to take that long. But the one thing I hear most often is the length of time was always related to how much they just didn't do anything with it. And they kick themselves. I can't believe that I languished at whatever the rank. And again, it doesn't even have to be, like ruby or emerald. It was just, I was at this rank and I could have been at this one and beyond. And I either just didn't do it, or sometimes they didn't know. And that's something that doesn't help any of you, because you wouldn't be working with me. But once you get to the jewel rank, we take a look at your previous month's activity, and we actually strategize, and we look at a trajectory of what it would take within 3 to 6 months to get to whatever this next rank is. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is we actually look at the numbers in your back office. I don't like numbers. Me no like the math. But looking at these numbers makes sense, because they're numeric, factual representation of what you probably already see or feel in your business. And what I mean by that is sometimes leaders say to me, I don't know, I kind of feel like nobody's doing anything, and it's kind of everybody's asleep at the switch. And I go, well, let's look at the numbers. And we go, yeah, the people in your 4th and 5th level are like not doing anything. And they're like, yes, that's right, because the people I brought in my 1st level are doing activity. So all of that just to say that once people see some of this information too, and again, this is still answering or addressing your question, Julia. Once they see some of this information, they go, oh, is that what's happening? Is that who I have to talk to? Is that all it would take? Because sometimes people say, what's it going to take point-wise for me to get to the next rank? Become an emerald, for example. And I'll say, okay, if for the next 3 months, you and your whole team enroll 20 people for the next 3 months, you'll get the necessary points. So, like, wait, seriously, like I have to enroll that many people? Like, no, your whole team. I could get my whole team to get 20 people. Now, I'm just throwing that number out as a hypothetical. But when people see that's all it took, oh my gosh, if I would have known that, I would have been doing that. So once again, it's sort of in closing on that question, it's hard to say because some people don't lean in because they just didn't feel it. They didn't get inspired. Some people don't lean in because they didn't know the path to follow. And if they would have asked or listened or had somebody tell them, they could have been following, just enroll this many people, or just get the people on your current team to the next rank. And the points you'll get from that will get you to the, so yes, silver is very, very important. So I it's numbers like that. Again, I want to get you something on an average. It's almost unfair because especially when you hear it took a diamond 8 years, it might, maybe working something like that into the nooks and crannies of your life, it would take that long. But you're steadily making money along the way. You're steadily helping people along the way. So it's not just, you put the dough in the oven and you wait 8 years and now it's done. You're working, you're creating relationships, you're affecting people's lives, and the next thing you know, it's like, wow, it's finally here. But it can definitely take a shorter period of time if you show up, you're consistent, you duplicate your actions with the people that you bring in, and darn it, I'm going to say it, you care. I mean, it sounds like the yearbook answer, but I've spoken to people who are social media influencers and bring in thousands of people into their business. No follow-up. You know of, or at least have heard of, some people in our business who are reality television stars. And they also bring in, based on the recognition, hundreds of people. And I'm not saying them specific, but you bring in hundreds of people and there's no follow-up. So it's not just about bringing the people in, it's about caring and following up with them and caring enough to say, honestly, I want to help and I can give you the help, but I don't want to give it to you if you don't want it. So how can I help you? And
I was going to mention.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I just thought of something that I heard at, I don't remember if it was convention or maybe it was on one of our leadership calls, but they said, I think maybe it was Christina Williams mentioned something about how, if you think, even if you take the person who it took the longest to become a diamond, even in that essence, it hit me as you were talking about it. Most of the time in corporate America, you could work for 20, 40 years and never make it to the top. And I think that's like one of the biggest things that really struck me at one point in time is like these girls, these gentlemen who have made it to the top in like 5, 7, 8 years. Like that's incredible. Because
yes.
Think of it in comparison. So it just made me think of that when you were speaking. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No apologies at all. And I'm glad you contributed that. And it reminds me, excuse me, it reminds me of a page from my life, if you'll indulge me for a moment. Part of what I've done before was I worked as a corporate trainer in the automotive world. And I was an independent contractor and I worked with all of the manufacturers from Chevy to Ford to Porsche to BMW. And I always found myself in a new dealership with a new car, teaching the sales or service staff about the new car. And at first glance, because I'm wearing a shirt that has their logo on it that month, they thought I worked for a corporate of that brand. And sometimes when they would ask me, and so how long have you worked for Chevy? And I go, I don't work for Chevy. I do this month and I'm representing. they inevitably, all the years that I did this, someone would ask me, who's the best? Who's got the best car? I mean, you've worked with all of them. Who's got the best? And I always loved this question. I was like, it is very obvious who has the best car, because everybody's got some car that is better on fuel, and they've got some technology that keeps you in your lane, and it's accident avoidance, and it mitigates the amount of damage that happens to you in your car. But you know who's got the best out there? And they'd all lean in and like, tell us finally. Like, seriously, I can't believe I gotta answer this. It's your car. Are you kidding me? The brand you're working at, because you're freaking here. Listen, if you think that this other company has a better product, and God bless you, you could think that, you need to go there because you believe in that product. But you're here for a reason, and you need to find out what this product is and why this product works and why you are the best person to represent this product. Because let's be honest, ladies, we're not the only ones that have these kind of products. We have the best. But so does the next rep who's saying the same thing on a call very similar to the ones we're having right now. So why is our Hydrite good? Why are our conventions good? Why are our people good? So instead of, and I'm not saying anybody obviously is doing that here, but if you believe in what you're doing, you need to let people see that. And you need to sell that movie. You know, it's Whiplash. Rent it and put the kids to bed. You're going to be like, I can't believe it. I thought that I was going to be falling asleep in a movie. So you sold that. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I'm a salesperson. But you're really just selling somebody the solution that they want in their lives. And your unique voice is going to speak to somebody who needs to hear it. Let's see. No graphics. You post you. Yes, there you go. Katie. Go ahead, Katie.
Christy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Christy. Sorry about that.
Okay. I just wanted to, just when you're talking about that movie, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's so, like you said, so profound when you're watching it. It's not something you forget easily. And you're talking about selling that movie as yourself, and it just, the way it builds, like you said, it just builds and it builds and it builds, and you're left like, you know, something more happened. You don't even have to be there. And it just made me think, you know, I've watched a lot of training videos today about how to be a better influencer and how to have a better influence on people's lives. And if you set yourself up well, you're going to keep leading people and going to keep leading people. And they're going to be like, wait, what happens next? What happens next? And you're going to bring them in. And just, I love that comparison. I just wanted to tell you, thank you for that. I absolutely love that.
Oh, thank you. And I'm actually glad I thought about the movie, because aside from it being a great movie, and one of the two lead actors who won countless awards for his role, J.K. Simmons, as the kind of the villain of the movie, without giving any spoilers, the question that's asked in this movie, without being outwardly asked, is what lengths will you put yourself through to be the best? And when everybody's looking at what you're doing, and like, you're crazy, you need to stop. And your answer is, but I want to be the best. And the person who is pushing you to be the best is pushing you almost beyond your limit. Who's wrong? And who, if there is, who is the villain? I mean, honestly, I wasn't trying to sell this movie, but now that, you know, Chrissy brought this up and I'm thinking about it, it is almost really apropos to even what we're talking about. You all are going to push yourselves to the limit. Thankfully, you don't have to push it to such a degree that you're doing what this kid does in this movie. But when you think at one point, this person's going too far, but then you ask yourself, if I really wanted to achieve greatness, what wouldn't I put myself through, aside of, you know, potentially being hurt or your family being in danger and those kind of things? If I really, really wanted to do it, I really wanted to sing, I really wanted to write, I really wanted to affect people's lives and help their health and allow them to spend more time with their children, what wouldn't I do? So again, I feel like I've sold it more than I wanted to, but again, remember, a lot of profanity, that turns you off. This might not be the movie for you, but oh man, what a great message, and really smart, and great performances too. All right, so I think a lot of people who are so I'm looking at a lot of dark screens here. Turn on some lights over there, everybody. You're obviously in the time zone That's a little further.
Yeah,
from,
we're 2 hours difference from you, so it's kind of like dark over here.
yes, kind of like dark.
But
Yes,
anybody have questions or anything before we close? Anything? Oh man, y'all are quiet tonight.
Okay, sorry.
Nope,
I'm
go
not talking
Julia.
yet. I'm just curious, if you could think of a challenge like that you feel like tends to push people for a quick short period of time, that's like just a really good like challenge. What would that be?
a
Is that very
short-
confusing? Is that told you my brain's fried.
You're kind of going in and out. You're
I'm just looking for something.
You know,
Oh, okay.
But I think I've gotten the crux of what you were asking, Julia, which is what would be a great challenge recommendation that I would say, all right, starting today, everybody, your challenge is by next Monday, do X. And my recommendation is always to reach out to, thank you, reach out to a specific number of people, and that could just be to contact. I mean, again, it's one day away from the end of the month, and what better day than to issue a challenge like I'm gonna say this, and definitely Cassie jump in with some addition or even to strike any of this. My statement would be to call 10 people and offer them the business. It's a lot of people to offer the business to, but I'm going to say 10 people, one of which is your white whale. That one that you're like, I do not want to call this person because they're going to laugh at me, or they're going to say no to me while laughing at me. But the one person that if they were on your team, you'd be like, I cannot believe they said yes. It was this woman that was like, she levitates every time I see her in Starbucks. She drives this car that I can't even park next to. She's just in fact, imagine if you were going to approach Genevieve to be on your team. That's the person who I'm telling you, call. And I don't, not just like a little texty, but have a contact conversation voice, or even better, if you can get in person with them, that would be my challenge. And then there's a side challenge, but this is ongoing. It's Julie, you asked for it quick, but personal development, that is always something that is such a challenge to us. And we're like, yeah, the self-aware leader, John Maxwell. I mean, you can throw a rock and hit any John Maxwell book and you're going to be sipping from the fountain of gold. So do not underestimate that. Let me strike that. The key to you succeeding is developing yourself. I was going to say, don't underestimate the power of reading 10 pages a day. Do it. You need to do that. Discipline yourself to read at least 10 pages a day of a book. And this is a great one to start with. Fight the urge to turn on the TV. I love the TV and watch TV or listen to music or have a hobby, but don't not read 10 pages of a self-development book as a leader. Fiction's great, but nonfiction is better, because you are creating within yourself a beacon that somebody needs to see. Somebody is on the actual water right now, and they're looking for that. What's it called? The light, the lighthouse. Lighthouse. Like, there you go, lighthouse. You're the lighthouse. I was going to say night light. It's a little smaller than I was looking for, but you are the lighthouse. So we need to continue to create lighthouses out of all of you, and you've got that within you, and you've got the main one right here on the call. And when you think you're failing, and when you think your light is flickering, she's gonna stoke your fire. But you can continue that. If you're always waiting for some leader to give you the information, like this call, hopefully you're like, yeah, I'm charged up to go. And then in a couple, it's like going to church, Sunday, you're going to like lunch, like fighting the devil with your fists and bow, boom. And then Monday you're like, wah, wah. because you kind of need to get charged again. So calls like this, but you can keep, instead of the I got a call and I'm down, you can keep that going by reading audiobooks. So that's the sub challenge. Challenge number 1, call 10 people, one of which is your white whale. Sub challenge, continue your personal development.
Oh man, I can agree to that. And I think that that's the thing is like, you guys, we have this next month, the self-aware leader. And I cannot tell you enough, like all these books in 7 years, I would have never done this. I would have cried already doing something like this if I would have stayed where I was when I first started. So doing the uncomfortable things are truly what are key and how to get you moving into where you want to go. And like Julia's, everybody's journey is so different, but it's how much time and effort you put into it that gets you to go faster. Even if you only have nooks and crannies, that's okay. Just know your journey might be a little bit longer, but it's well worth it. The other one that I'm reading right now is You Are the Girl for the Job. And me and Teresa just read the intro this morning, and I was already like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really great book. So always dive in, but no. And I think I questioned you guys this, the other day on our team call. If you knew in the next 24 hours now that you could not fail, what would you be doing right now? In the next 24 hours, like what would that look like? And if you had a room, like he said, with 100 people in it, and you knew right there that 2 of your diamonds or your emeralds, your next people were going to be in that area, what would you do? And what would that look like? That would be messaging the white whales, the Genevieves, that you're terrified you're going to mess up. It's okay, mess up. I've messed up. We all have. But that's what gets us moving forward. And so I want to see you guys literally push as hard as you can in the next 24 hours, because it's going to be better than if you didn't. That's the key. It's going to be better if you didn't do it. So, okay. Anything else, my team? I'm so glad that you guys popped on. And Chris, you did awesome. You had us laughing. I loved it. It was so good. And we are blessed by you. Immensely.
Thank you all for taking the time. Thank you for inviting me here. Please, if I didn't mess up too bad, invite me back. And if you haven't already, Chris Smith Plexus, look for this face minus the glasses. Connect with me on Facebook. Send me an invitation. I'd love to catch up, rather keep up with your progress. And if Cassie's busy, I'm available for answers. And I would just love to keep up with all of you and watch your rise to the next rank and more. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Chris. All right, guys, we will see our end of month party tomorrow. Don't forget, end of month is tomorrow. Let's rock it. Bye, guys.